without ethics, man has no future. This is to say, mankind without them cannot be itself. Ethics determine choices and actions and suggest difficult priorities. Respected Principal Dr. Manoj George, our most esteemed resource person, Dr. Dilip Bharat sir, Vice Principal Dr. C. Sheila Madam, Head of the Department Dr. Binimol Punnus Madam, Dean Academics Dr. Mini PR Madam, and other heads of the departments, faculty, colleagues, participants, and my dear students. A warm good evening to you all. Today, we all have gathered here as part of the one-day national webinar being organized by the Department of Science and Humanities, Federal Institute of Science and Technology. FISAT is a pioneer self-financing college which has marked its definitive stance in the field of engineering education in Kerala. It has been in the forefront of organizing conferences, seminars, and webinars which would enlighten people about in the field of science and technology. The Department of Science and Humanities and its activities has always been one of its strongest driving forces in performing at the highest level consistently. Today, we are here to witness such a session in which Dr. Dilip Bharat, Professor and Head of the English Department, MK Bhavnagar University, Gujarat, is going to give you all an overview regarding engineering ethics and organizational behavior. Now, before we begin, let us invoke the blessings of Lord Almighty with a silent prayer. Okay. First on the cards, we have the welcome address. Our head of the department, Dr. Binimol Punnus, since taking charge, has set us on a path on which she urges us continuously to strive for excellence. I welcome you, ma'am, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Thomas, sir. Respected Principal Dr. Manoj George, Honorable Speaker for the day, Dr. Dilip Bharat, Vice Principal Dr. C. Sheila, Dean Academics Dr. Mini PR, other dignitaries, participants, and students, a warm good evening to you all. I deem it a great honor and privilege to welcome each and every one of you to the national webinar on engineering ethics and organizational behavior, organized by the Department of Science and Humanities of Federal Institute of Science and Technology. Our Honorable Principal, Dr. Manoj George, has always been the strength behind all the activities conducted in our college. I cordially welcome you, sir, to this webinar. Our Vice Principal, Dr. C. Sheila, has always been supportive in all our activities. I take this opportunity to welcome Sheila ma'am to this webinar. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Bini.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Mini PR, Dean Academics, to this webinar. Welcome, ma'am. We are very fortunate to have with us Dr. Dilip Bharat as the resource person for this webinar. He is currently teaching English literature and language to the postgraduate students of the MK Bhavnagar University. He has wide experience of teaching to students, belongs to various faculties like commerce, management, computers, humanities, and social sciences. In spite of a busy schedule, he gladly accepted our invitation and agreed to be with us. We cordially welcome you, sir, to this webinar. Now I welcome all HODs, faculty members, participants, and students to this webinar. I hope this would be a fruitful session to all of us. Once again, I welcome each and everyone present here to this gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, without further ado, we move on to the keynote address. Dr. Dilip Bharat, sir, at present is teaching English literature and language to the postgraduate students of the MK Bhavnagar University. He He has 26 years of experience of teaching since July 1996. That is to the students belonging to various faculties like commerce, management, computers, humanities, and social sciences. His areas of interest are CALL call, innovative use of ICT in teaching English literature and literary theories. He has conducted workshops on use of web tools for teaching in national and international conferences. He has penned books and articles on Thomas Hardy, Kamala Das, modern communication and web tools for English teaching. Recently, he has completed an e-content development project funded by Ministry of HRD, Government of India. The short video lectures developed under this project are uploaded on YouTube. He has completed UGC research project on technology and teaching English, language and literature, blended learning. He has successfully completed online course that is a web skills for teachers from University of Oregon, USA. University of Oregon, USA. He has completed several MOOCs on course era on topics like digital humanities, EDX MOOC from Harvard University, technology and ethics from the Ohio State University, understanding research methods, University of London, Greek and Roman mythology, University of Pennsylvania, assessment and teaching of 21st century skills, University of Melbourne, shaping the way we teach English, first and second, paths to success in ELT, University of Oregon. He is recognized as research supervisor by MK Bhavnagar University. It is with utmost pleasure and pride I invite our most respected speaker for the day, Dr. Dilip Bharat, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, Mr. Thomas Philip. Thanks, Dr. Binimoy, and all the authorities of the institute and all the students. A very, very a cool good evening to all the students. We have the beginning of the winter season now going on, and it's a wonderful time to gather around the evening today to have a talk on engineering ethics and organizational behavior. Well, keeping students in mind, I have tried to make my presentation full of illustrations rather than going into the theoretical aspects. I would like to give some interesting examples ranging from popular films to the day-to-day affairs kind of a thing. And let us see at the end of the day if we are able to make some convincing points about why ethics and why ethics are necessary for organizational behavior also. Let me share my screen and let us start with a few things which I would like to share with the students. Yeah. Okay. So engineering ethics and organizational behavior organized by FISAT, Federal Institute of Science and Technology. Well, first let us try to have a look at this very this anecdote. This anecdote will come at the end of our presentation also to this mythical anecdote. There is a very famous myth, Oedipus, the myth of Oedipus. It's a Greek myth. And as per this myth, to cut down the entire long story short and coming to a major point which we want to discuss, Oedipus was passing near Thebes. Thebes is the name of a city. But then there was one very giant, monstrous sphinx. And sphinx would allow person to travel or pass by only if the riddle is answered correctly. And if a person fails to answer the riddle, then sphinx would kill that person. And so far, so many people died, but nobody was able to answer the question. The question was very simple. What goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet at noon, and 3 feet in the evening? That was a very simple riddle. Oedipus was a very smart fellow and he was able to answer this. And answer was man, or let us call it human beings. And Sphinx was happy and Oedipus passed on and became the very famous ruler of Thebes, the city, the Greek myth there. human beings is the ultimate answer of this riddle. Let us remember this in mind. Human being, man is the answer of this riddle. We'll come back at the end of our presentation to this again. Well, coming to the topic, engineering ethics, I would like to read this term engineering as noun also and as adjective also. And well, as a noun, when we see engineering ethics, at that time, it is something about planning and bringing out something. Engineering as a noun is planning and bringing out something. And the first and foremost engineers of ethics are our teachers. Our teachers. The way teachers preached and practiced organizational ethical behavior always stays with students of all professions. We know that teaching is the mother of all the professions. In the a kind of a questionnaire that I sent yesterday, which many of you have filled also, there were some questions related to teachers. So maybe you might be surprised that we engineers, what are we going to do with the teachers? Well, but teachers are the fountainhead of ethics. They are the engineers of ethics, the teachers. And whatever way teachers are behaving in a given organization, that is schools and colleges, students are observing them. And they unconsciously are learning from the behavioral patterns of the teachers. Not only the subject content that is taught by the teachers, but along with the subject content, what illustrations are given, what examples are given, how they themselves behave in their staff room, in their off time, in their on the campus, off the campus. They all tend to make somewhere a kind of what we call it as great engineers of the ethics. And students, they keep on learning from there. And so engineering ethics from school to college, teachers are the first and foremost engineers of ethics. Engineering as adjective, when we see ethics specific to engineers. So engineering ethics means, like we see that ethics fine, but we want to see only for engineers. We are not worried about ethics for doctors, ethics for lawyers, ethics for other professionals, but for engineers, how we can think of that. So ethical behavior of or for the professionals in engineering organizations. Well, with subsequent examples, we'll try to club these things together. Second part of our topic is organizational behavior. So how do we see, like Moorhead and Griffin in their work, which was published in 1995, Organizational Behavior, Managing People and Organizations. In that, they said that it is the study of human behavior in organizational settings. The interface between human behavior and the organization itself also is very important. So there is a human being, there is organization, and then there is interpersonal relation between an organization and human being, which plays a very vital role to be studied here. Wagner and Hollenbeck, in their very famous work published by Routledge, New York, they said that OB research can be categorized in at least 3 ways. That is, individuals in organizations, let us call it micro level, work groups, meso level, and how organizations behave, macro level. So individual and the behavioral pattern, but apart from that, how organizations themselves behave is also very important. That's why we had categorically put some questions in our survey form, where we were asking about Twitter. Twitter today is a very interesting case study. Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, and every day something is happening where how the organization is behaving, how they are like firing people from the job, how people are resigning from their jobs. The brand of Twitter is undergoing tremendous changes. That is how organizations behave. So at macro level, that also is very interesting to be seen. Also, it plays a very vital role on the behavior of an individuals. There is a very famous work written by Chester Barnard. I'm very quickly touching upon some theoretical aspect, which later on students, if they are interested, or faculty members, if they're interested, they can refer to this all works also. This work by Chester Barnard is The Functions of the Executive. And this is like 1938 book, 1938, almost 80 years back. Cambridge and Harvard University Press had published it, which is considered as a kind of a seminal work or a foundational work when people talk about organizational behavior and the study of the behavior of individuals, primarily in their organizational roles. One of the main goals of organizational behavior research is to revitalize organizational theory and develop a better conceptualization of organizational life also. So whenever people think of an individual in any organization and how they behave or work, they tend to refer to this work, functions of the executives also. Well, let us see now this was our title clarification. Yes, so engineering ethics and organizational behavior. Let us see the responses which you have given, what we have received as a part of responses from all the participants. And we'll try to narrow down to this. What is difference between ethics and morality? What is legality and ethical behavior? When we tend to say that, but it is legal, or all is fair in love and war, or profit and loss, or success matters, when all these words or similar kinds of language is spoken around us, at that time it becomes very, very difficult to say whether what is ethics or what is morality also. Let me go back to the next page where we will see, I'm changing the page. Let me come down to the responses. Yeah, these are responses, and this was our survey form. This was, that I'm sharing it. Okay, this was the survey form which I sent to everybody, and I'm quite happy and satisfied to see that around 103 participants. Let me share. 103 participants have filled the responses. So that's really good. That's well. If I normally whenever I take any online sessions, I do send something in advance to map the minds of the participants and also organizations. And this says that Federal Institute of Science and Technology, the Department of Science and Humanities, who is organizing this webinar, they are like, they have developed a wonderful ethics around the organizations. Otherwise, it is very difficult to get such a good number of responses from students. It is not easy to get responses from students. So this number of responses from the students is one of the excellent examples to see that how FISAT as an organization has set its ethical standards so high that people who come to attend the program, they come with some mental exercise. They are ready beforehand. Well, that's what speaks about the institute as such. Yeah. Well, very quickly to see the responses, we have more number of female students, around 54%. And this way some of the responses, like how do we look at technology? Because we are trying to look at engineering ethics. So first and foremost thing that comes is technology, machines or artificial intelligence and everything is a part of that. So how do you look at technology? Some statements were given to you. For example, technology is neutral. 70% said, yes, you agree with this. Technology has no religion. 84% agreed with this idea. It has no national identity. 46 only, maybe 54% believes that, well, there is national identity, perhaps with technology. It has no regional connect. So again, 44 only. Then it has no gender and is unaware about sexism, and it does not know about racism or casteism, and finally it does not know the other, so it is not xenophobic. Well, most of you said no religion and is neutral. Now this is where we'll have to concentrate and in some of the slides we'll try to see that how far technology is really neutral or not. The second was the difference between ethics and morality. And this question and the subsequent case studies that were given to you, they were based on the idea to identify what is difference between ethics and morality. So both are loosely connected with each other. Ethics and morality are very loosely connected with each other. Many people think of morality as something that's personal and normative, whereas ethics is the standard of good and bad. It can be considered like organizational standards. And morality is something as a person, as a personal, in-person capacity, what I do there. Okay, fine. So we had this another responses also where you have given your responses. Okay. Yeah, but what we find is that the distinction between the two is as substantial as a line drawn in the sand, or we can say there is a very watertight compartment between ethics and morality, where my personal space, where my personal morals and my organizational ethics or my cultural ethics, my societal norms, how they come in clash with each other, and then whether it is good for me to be moral or ethical can be somewhere problematic. And so we had series of other questions. If a teacher is irregular in his duty, not completing syllabus, for example, may be considered, and very rightfully most of you said it is unethical behavior. We can't consider it as immoral. So how we are trying to approach this idea of ethics and morality? By seeing what is unethical or immoral. That can help us. So we are doing a kind of deductive method to deduce that if I want to know what is ethics and moral, let me know what is unethical and what is immoral. Okay, fine. If a teacher is physically exploiting students, rightfully most of you said it is immoral behavior. And for many, it can be unethical also, depending upon the society and other kinds of things. But it is very much immoral kind of a thing that we can. So we get a two clear-cut distinction between what is ethics and what is morality also. This was a very, very curious question. If a teacher supports students agitating against management, it may be considered what? And we had a very confused responses from everybody, unethical or immoral kind of a thing. Well, to make a point more clear, as a professional, when I am working in an organization, my commitment to organization is very, very important. And so my ethical behavior tend to look at the vision of the organization. So I'm supposed to be faithful to the organization. And if I am not that, then I am unethical. But then if organization is doing something wrong, the behavior of organization, not an individual in organization, but the behavior of an organization at that time, if it is doing wrong, and if the management or organization is exploiting students, it is not student friendly, and so students are rightfully agitating for their rights. As a teacher, what should I do? So even though it may be unethical, then my moral code of conduct would say that, well, I will have to support the student. So again, you are in a very catch-22 situation. You are in a catch-22 situation, or between the devil and the deep sea. And then it is tested. But we come to know what is moral and what is to be ethical or unethical. If a teacher is doing administrative work at the cost of teaching, what may be considered there? Well, a teacher's main job is to teach. At the cost of teaching, anything else is being done, it becomes unethical. So as a profession, there is some work to be done. But I am in an organization, and the organization is expecting me to do many other works also. So there is an individual and there is an organization. And now the behavioral pattern of individual and organization plays a vital role. We may have to say here that organization should recruit people in a rightful manner. If they are recruiting teachers, teachers should be for teaching. They should recruit separately administrative staff, which are only for administration only. But when an organization behaves not in an ethical manner, then the people within the organization will also have to suffer with their ethical, unethical behavior, as well as moral, immoral behavior also. This was about legality. Lawyer telling court that his or her client is guilty. Now, either lawyers or doctors, they are not supposed to tell the reality of their clients or patients. Doctors can never share the history of the disease of their patients. Lawyers ethically should not share the truth of their clients. What is their prime role? It is to defend the client. It is to defend. So ethically, lawyers' role is to defend the client. So it becomes unethical practice if lawyer will tell the court that his or her client is guilty. But when client is really guilty, at that time for a lawyer, it is again a catch-22 situation, that whether I should be moral or unethical. Again, a very difficult situation. And if there are very honest lawyers, they would say that I will not take this case. I will let go the money that is offered to me, but I will not take this particular case. That is how they can decide, but they can not take the case, money from the client, and then go and tell to the court that this is the problem there. Okay. Well, this is about private tuition classes by the teachers there. It is obviously becoming unethical in a different way. Okay, not touching upon this topic right now. Exams are conducted without invigilator or not. Mostly we see that exams are with invigilator and the class supervisor. Now, what is the concern of this question here? It is that when we require an invigilator or a supervisor, and the prime role of the supervisor is just to see that students don't copy, students don't cheat in the exam, then this invigilator or a supervisor, or the very concept of putting somebody there to see that the students don't cheat is highly problematic. Now, it means that in our schools or colleges, we are not able to develop ethical behavior. It means that we as a teachers are failing, our education systems are failing, and they are not able to say with guarantee that we have taught our organization, that is our school or college, was up to the mark, and our students have learned a behavioral pattern from our students, and we don't require any invigilator. We know they will not cheat. Now, this guarantee nobody can give, and that itself is we can say ironical failure of our educational system. So if our educational system is a huge organization, then we need to relook into the organizational behavior of our education system itself. And if we do not have a guarantee, then we won't be able to say that our engineers, our scientists, our doctors, our teachers, our students who are going to become any of the professionals, they are going to have ethical behavior in their day-to-day life. Nobody can say with guarantee if we can't do this also. Okay, so then there are some questions about driverless car. We'll come to that, moral decision by driverless car. Some of you said you are aware about it. It is a good idea. I'll share some of the links which you can see later on. Designer children concept also, 60% said no, but 39 said yes. Okay, very interesting moral concern there. Some of the films I was asking if you have seen, people talked a lot about these films. One was Don't Look Up, Netflix English film. Another was Sherni, which was dubbed in Malayalam on Amazon Prime. It was a Hindi.
Dilip sir, your mic is muted.
It is muted right now, or it was mute automatically?
Now it's okay, sir. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, are you getting the voice now?
Yes, perfect, sir. You can.
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So are you aware about the incidents, Morbi and bridge collapse and this, and Twitter acquiring Elon Musk also, and what are the concerns that also we wanted to see there? Okay, so this was like this idea was to see that how we differentiate between ethics and morality. and the legality of the things, and the other things there. So when many people say that, well, but Elon Musk has done wonderful work, whether it is really wonderful or not, when a bridge collapses, what is the role of engineers? Or what went wrong in the entire idea? How did the entire organization behaved in a pattern where perhaps an individual engineer who was behind making of Twitter or a bridge, what role that individual engineer might play? Perhaps they may be left with the only idea that I will resign from this organization, though we are the maker of the bridge or a Twitter. Twitter is a bridge which bridges people with people, social communication links, which are very powerful. So whether there are physical bridges or virtual bridges, the makers sometimes have to resign. And that is where the concern becomes very important to be seen here also. Okay, I would like to share one more example here. This is a film, Tigers. Tigers film, it's a Hindi film. And I don't know whether it was dubbed in Malayalam language or not. But a trailer we will see, and we'll come to discuss the ethical behavioral thing in this also.
Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water?
हर साल दुनिया में करोड़ों बच्चे पैदा होते हैं.
Do you feel that you have any responsibility?
We can't have that responsibility, sir.
कुछ लाख मर भी जाएं तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
Where does your story start?
मैं आम सा आदमी, आम सी मेरी ख्वाहिश है. जिंदगी मुश्किल भी थी पर वो कभी-कभी मुस्कुराती भी थी.
You will be selling the world's best infant formula with the world's best company, Lasta Vita.
आप अपने बच्चों के लिए बेस्ट चाहते हैं ना? तो यही है. Lasta Food Inc. This stuff sells itself. ये आपके लिए.
काफी डॉक्टर्स में पसंद भी करते हैं. अब वक्त आ गया है कि तुम अपने पर फैलाओ.
इन काले बॉक्सेस का मतलब है ये डॉक्टर सब ले रहे हैं.
ये सब बच्चे तुम्हारी कंपनी का दूध पीकर मर रहे हैं. हर हफ्ते, रोज बरोज.
सर, हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स की वजह से बच्चे मर रहे हैं.
गलती हमारी नहीं है आयान कि हुकूमत अपने लोगों को गंदा पानी पिलाती है.
गलती से मुझे या मेरे बच्चों को गलत का साथ देने की वजह मत बनाओ यान.
It's not too late. The company will take you back.
I'm not coming back.
मैंने तुम्हें कभी भी अपनी नौकरी छोड़ने के लिए नहीं कहा. ना ही मैंने तुम्हें दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी फूड कंपनी के साथ पंगा लेने के लिए उकसाया आयान.
This was happening in Africa in the 70s, all over Asia in the 80s and 90s, and you just sent a researcher to prove that this is still happening there now. It's an old story that's alive. It keeps repeating itself.
So this film Tigers is about a true story of a Pakistani salesman who was working for a Nestle company, and then this milk product, which was an alternative to feeding the newly born children, the mother's milk, which is used. This was an alternative, and so many people were dying, and this was a real case. And this salesperson who fights with a mighty company, but ultimately the way it happens that it is always the loss of an individual when the fight is with a mighty company. Yeah. So this again gives us a very interesting idea about ethics in an organizational behavior. How people would struggle if the organization has a different code for the ethics, and they think that profit is ultimately the important thing rather than any other things, then it becomes very difficult for an individual to practice morality. Then only profit, success, money is the definition of what we call it as ethical behavior. So if I am successful, I am right. That is how it defines. So this film tries to question this idea there. This is a small scene from this film Sherni, Hindi film Sherni, which is dubbed in this also. Let us have a look at this small scene first.
पहले यहाँ घना जंगल हुआ करता था और आज ये कॉपर माइन।
ये जो जंगल है ना, T12 शेरनी अपने बच्चों के साथ इसके पीछे है। उसको जाना है उस पहाड़ी के पीछे नेशनल पार्क पे। यहाँ हमने हाईवे बना दिया है, यहाँ पे पूरी फैक्ट्रियां हैं, सब चौक कर दिया। कैसे जाएगी वो वहां?
So let me, it's in Hindi language. So maybe most of you or many of you might not be able to get the dialogue properly. So it said that there is a huge copper mining factory working in the forest. And the tigress, T12 or T22 named the tigress is there. And tigress wanted to move from one part of a forest to another part of the forest. And one side there is a super express highway. On the other side, there is a copper mining factory. So our model of development, which keeps on eating the spaces of forest, and then the wildlife has to suffer. And then what we will do, we will kill the tigress, because we will call that the tigress is attacking human beings. The tigress is attacking human beings. So we have a right to kill the tigress, and then we will nullify the tigress there. But we will never question the copper mining fields and other things. That so film Sherni, very interestingly, Masurkar is the maker of this film, very symbolically brought this idea. This now mining factories and other things, they all obviously deal with the idea of engineering marvels. Huge machines are made by engineers so that you can dig deep into the forest, into the earth very quickly and much faster manner. Let me talk about this Anthropocene in the similar way. People say that we are living in the era of Anthropocene nowadays, and this is a very interesting film, documentary film made here as a project of Anthropocene film. Let us watch it, and I will keep on telling something about it.
The Anthropocene is the time in the geological record when humans have moved the planet outside its natural limits.
Humans go from being participants in the whole Earth to being a dominant feature.
Dominating the oceans, the landscape, agriculture, animals.
It could be a full-scale catastrophic change.
You see this huge machines. Now, the way they work, and they do lots of unimaginable damage to the natural resources, natural diversity, to the earth itself. Earth, which is our only home. Earth is the only home of human beings. And how these huge machines
We have not a way to get back. We live now in a different world.
It is such a fundamental change in the way the Earth is behaving that we need to communicate that as powerfully as possible to everybody.
So we don't want to make any judgment here that, well, should we have machines or not, or should we have engineering marvels which lead to this or not? Not going into any of this judgmental thing, but well, this is what we are doing. That is the reality. In a much faster manner, we are engineering the damage of ecology, and like perhaps no species on the earth would burn their own homes, but perhaps humans with their own science and technology and engineering marvel is, well, like they are die hard on destroying their own home, perhaps. Yeah, well, that remains a very interesting concern. But as I told you, that if organization, if society, if everybody in the world wants this to happen, what an individual engineer is going to do? So this individual behavior into an organizational thing and the ethical concerns are something very interesting that we have to keep on thinking very deeply about it. Coming down to this film, Don't Look Up, which also, like, there is a meme, there is a poster on one side, Don't Look Up, Netflix poster, and then other side there is a meme, a funny meme made on this, that this character, Peter Isherwell, is a character in the film Don't Look Up, which is a kind of a piece of a villain, not exactly a villain in the film, but kind of a piece there, who is, the meme says, is all about Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook, and Elon Musk. Everybody together comes into this. But well, Don't Look Up is a very interesting story. Again, tells that when the world, like, there is the story of the film says there is a comet that is striking the earth, and the setting is America, and what political leaders are doing, what this all technocrats are also doing, and how they behave in such a way that the earth is ultimately destroyed in the very idea. And then there are some scientists, some astronomers who try to awaken everybody, going to the president of America, to popular television show, everywhere, to tell that, well, we are dying, but well, perhaps nobody was ready to listen to them, and ultimately the comet strikes the earth, and the earth is destroyed there. So a very interesting way that this also tries to speak about the corporate greed and the ethical behavior of technocrats. This film you all might have seen, observed also. This is RRR. And the last sequence of this very popular film was this flag, wherein in Hindi language right now something is written, because this is a clip from a Hindi version of RRR. It is written Jal, Jamin, Jungle. Jal means water, forest, and land. Water, forest, and land. So the film was partly based on the real life heroes, real life Alluri, Sitaram, and Bhima. And when we see the story of this real life heroes, not the cinematic version of Sitaram and Bhima, but the real life heroes, what were they doing? Ultimately, they fought their rebellion, like Alluri Sitaraman had a rebellion against the British Raj in 1882 again for Madras Forest Act. So he wanted to protect forest, and for that he fought. And the same way Bhima was there to fight for the community, for their rightful ownership over land, food, and freedom. So their fight was for land, for water, for their forest, for their freedom to use those resources also. Though the cinematic version glamorizes the very idea and makes it against the British Raj only. But well, actually the fight was for what? The fight was for the land, for water, for natural resources. That is very significant to be seen in the real story of this character also. Well, apart from this, we have the another dynamics of unconscious biases, our artificial intelligence and unconscious bias. Many times we are not aware about our unconscious biases. To understand our unconscious biases, we need to try to look very critically at the things, and we have to have this diamond way of looking at it. Diamond looking. Look at problems as a diamond, because diamonds have so many sides. So it is not that every coin has the other side. Not that there is not on a dual mode, but there are so many sides that the diamond. So critical thinking and taking problems as diamond is very important idea to understand. Why we need to talk about this? Why we need to talk about this? Because when we ask this question, that is technology neutral? Many of you said yes, technology is neutral, but here we see that no, technology also is not neutral. Our artificial intelligence, our codes, whatever decisions we are going to make based on artificial intelligence or any of the things that we are going to make, it is made by human beings. All the coders, all the engineers are human beings. And if they are not aware about their unconscious biases, those unconscious biases are going to creep in our coding, in our artificial intelligence, in our machines also. They are going to come inside. And then we will think that this is neutral, so it is natural. It won't be neutral, it won't be natural also. So new challenges are emerging when we talk about artificial intelligence, and we have very interesting research work being done by Kirti Sharma, Robin Hauser, Timnit Gebru, and Joy. They have talked about how our artificial intelligence is not free from human biases. So what about our civil rights and many other things when our decisions are based under the guise of machine neutrality? When we think that machines are neutral and we believe that if machine has told, it must be correct, it must be truth. Well, no, it may not be true also, because machines also will behave the way we ask them to behave. Their intelligence is not natural intelligence. Even with natural intelligence, we have lots of ethical problems. We have lots of moral problems. Our artificial intelligence, which is modeled on the natural intelligence, will have even deeper ethical and moral concerns also. This work, this was a famous news, and it became talk of the town also. Timnit Gebru, who spoke, who criticized unethical artificial intelligence in Google. And so she was fired from the job. And then after getting out of the job, she started her own institute also. But that is what the concern, the huge organizations, even like Google or any other organizations, when they work with the thing, is somebody is identifying that this is unethical practice. Then like Social Dilemma also is a good example. If you have not watched documentary Social Dilemma, I strongly recommend you to watch Social Dilemma. So how social media is engineered to be addictive, So the way we had this psychological damage of addictions of drugs or liquor or any of those things, the same kinds of psychological damage social media also has, because they are designed to be like that. And so that these are the concern, and the people who are whistleblowers, they are thrown out of the organizations. The question of morality, which we talked about, driverless car and other things also. So when we try to look at this idea, this moral machine, this is what I would recommend all the students to visit this website, moralmachine.net, and try something, try to make some judgments. So this has a very fun-based idea here. This is MIT project, Massachusetts Institute of Technologies project, and it tries to say that suppose you are driving a car, and if you have a case here that there are two people here and two people there, where would the car collide? There are descriptions also given there. But this is like, we don't have time to go deep into this. I would suggest everybody to visit this website tonight only. Tonight only visit, play a game here. There are 13 slides here, and try to see what is the end result. The concern is the same concern. Like our car is going to do or going to make a choice or going to make a decision based on what as a human we are going to make. We are going to make the codes of the driverless car. We are the coders. So as a coder, if I think that the car should move in the straight direction, and kill these two people instead of these two people, it will happen in the similar way. But well, I'm not telling much of those things. I suggest you all to visit this and do a practice on this. Also, it will be a very interesting a project activity also to move to this one also. Okay, so the another concern is about designer babies, genetically modified children. So it is said that now we can enter the embryo, and by the time the human being is of only single cell in the womb of the mother, we can do some modifications and we can change several behavioral patterns, genetic coding and other things also. Now the ethical dilemma is this, that for example, I want to have a silky hair of my child, or I want to have a fair white skin of my child. So I would suggest a doctor to do some genetic modification, and I have a child with these eyes or this skin and all those kinds of things, or many other things. Now the ethical concern will be like, if the children, when they grow older, if they don't like those things, then now there is no going back. Something that is naturally, then we accept it as natural. But if it is artificially modified looks, then perhaps people may have a terrible problem also. So there are lots of ethical dilemma around this technology. The good side of this, is this case study. Though this technology is not officially allowed anywhere, but here is one case which I found on Wikipedia, that there is a doctor and scientist who worked on this. And what he did, like, there was one couple who came and told that they want to be parents, but the father there, means the husband, was suffering from AIDS. Now we know that, well, AIDS can transfer from parents to children. So it is not advised to parents who are suffering from thalassemia or AIDS to have children. But then this doctor said that, well, you go move ahead and I will make some genetic modification, and your children will not have the AIDS. So this technology is helping people and spreading happiness, and you can stop some of the genetically passing disease on the other people also. The other side is this, that if this technology will make people physically more healthy, mentally more healthy, and if you will see that, yes, really, the people who are genetically modified, they are more intelligent and they are physically more fit, then it may happen someday that we will have people who are genetically modified, and then there are natural people. And genetically modified people are beating the natural people in sports field, in IQ test, in exams and everywhere. And then perhaps the natural children may blame their parents, or may complain to their parents that, why have you not modified us? And then what kind of divide we will have? We have digital divide, we have divide between rich and poor. We will have a new divide between those people who are naturally born and those who are genetically modified people also. Well, very, very tough choices so far as ethical engineering is concerned is to be made, and that is where the future is moving towards also. But engineers always think differently. They are the problem solvers. We need to talk with them that, well, there are ethical concerns, moral concerns, and then engineers will always be there to solve the problem in a better way. By talking about engineering ethics, we may also lead to the point where engineers, keeping all those biases and those ethical concerns in the mind, will still give an alternative which we have not thought of. So we may get a better alternative. Also, for example, when we look at this idea that there is this concept, which many times we have seen, we have advertisement like, man also should share the household work and those things. But well, if there are engineers, they would say that, why don't reduce everybody's work? Why do you want to share menial work? Why don't you just diminish the menial work? That so not even women has to do that work. So we have washing machines, we have oven, we have dishwasher, and now we also have digital kitchens also. For example, have a look at So we tend to look at this idea that, well, household work, there is people want to share, or you go to the alternative and you find a better alternative to look at the very idea that how it can be solved. So engineers are problem solvers. You give them a problem, ethics is a problem you give, and they will obviously solve the problem also. Finally, to end my discussion, I would recommend this one wonderful work, which is published by Harvard Business Review, which tells how to design an ethical organization. Because ultimately, the organization having ethics is more important than individual. We also need to work on individual behavior also, but within an organization that plays a very vital role. So how to design an ethical organization by Harvard Business Review is very interesting article to be read. They say that ethics is not about belief system, it is more about design. So we have to make mental designs in an individual and also in an organization. So what are our explicit values, thoughts during judgments, incentives, cultural norms, that all will help in designing an individual having ethical behavior, and also the organizations having an ethical design, and then how we put ethical design into practice. This is what Harvard Business Review is talking about in that article, which I strongly recommend that it shall be read by all the students also. So what we have seen in the conclusion, we see that teachers' organizational behavior plays a vital role in engineering ethics. The future engineers have unprecedented ethical challenges in terms of climate change, water, land, forest of aboriginals, huge machines, genetically modified human beings, artificial intelligence, and social engineering. All these things are tough thing that we have to keep in mind. And ultimately, the myth, the Greek myth, with which we started our talk, human beings. We have to always keep in mind that everything that we do for human beings. The answer in that myth was man, human being. So that is what we have to keep in mind. Whatever we are, whether I am an insignificant human being, or I am a king, a mighty ruler, or I am an engineer, I am the owner of organization, I have to always think first about human beings. That should always be at the center. Now, with this simple concern that, am I doing anything which makes life of human beings better? Most of our ethical concerns can be answered also. This is a very interesting book which speaks about how to hack humans, which I many times refer to the idea when people say that, are our electronic voting machines being hacked or not? Well, I say that, well, voting machines cannot be hacked because they are not digital, they are electronic. But well, humans are hacked. When the humans are hacked, how can you do about those things? So our concern is not the hacking of machines. Our concern is hacking of humans, human beings at the center of the things there. And because if we don't care for, then human becomes a kind of a puppet. Also, in this way, to reinvent human being ultimately in our quest for engineering ethics and making our organization also having a beautiful design for the things also there. So these were some of the concerns which I wanted to share. It is exactly 7:30, and this is what I have shared. I'm very thankful to everybody for your patience listening. Around 194 participants, others, a very huge number of people, students have joined the session. So a big thank you to all the students also for having your patience listening. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Now is the time for raising questions. You can put your questions in the chat box.
Yeah, if there are any quick questions, you can put there. Or if in case people are interested, my email ID can also be shared with the people. You can also put a question to my email address. Also, in case if you want to, I'm putting my email address in the chat also. So you can mail me in case if you want to. Yeah. I'm slightly in hurry, so I would prefer to have questions in email here. As I talked with the person, we have to change the slide schedule from 7 to 8 earlier.
Okay, I think no one has asked any questions so far. I think if you can if you have any questions, you can. If you have any questions, you can put it forward here in the chat box, or you can. Sir has actually uploaded the email ID. You can mail your questions.
Thank you, sir. Very interesting talk.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Sir, for the participants, the Google form is shared in the chat within 2 days. Thomas, sir,
Okay.
you can continue, sir.
Yes. Okay. So no questions. The Google form has been shared in the chat box. You can click onto the Google form and fill the form, and within 2 days you will get the certificate. Okay. So 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation and your words of wisdom, which I'm sure has enlightened all those who have assembled here. I extend my profuse gratitude to you on behalf of everyone gathered. For the kind information of the feedback link, it has been shared. You can actually click onto that and fill the details. And as we mentioned a couple of minutes back, you will get the certificates within 2 days. Now I call upon the convener of this event, Ms. Sajana Shamsuddin, to propose the vote of thanks. It was her wholehearted efforts which bore fruit in the form of this webinar. Over to you, ma'am.
Honorable Chairman, Shri Srimit PR, Principal Dr. Manoj George, Resource Person Dr. Dilip Bharat, Vice Principal Dr. C. Sheila, Dr. Mini PR, Dean Academics, HOD Dr. Binimol Punnus, faculty members, participants, and my dear students, a warm good evening to you all. I humbly present myself here to propose my sincere gratitude to all the people associated with the smooth conduct of this webinar. First and foremost, I take this opportunity to thank our chairman, Shri Srimit PR, for all his support in the conduct of this webinar. Thank you very much, sir. Leadership is an action, not a position. Now let me express our wholehearted gratitude towards our honorable principal for his guidance and support. Thank you, sir. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. Our dear Vice Principal, Dr. C. Sheila, has always been a true mentor. Thank you, dear Sheila ma'am, for inspiring us. I extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. Mini PR, Dean Academics. Thank you, madam. We are really grateful to our HOD, Dr. Binimol Punnus, who has always taken the pivotal role in guiding us as a team in all our endeavors. We thank you, Madam, for all your efforts.
Thank you, Sajana.
Now, I'd like to extend my wholehearted gratitude towards our invited speaker, Dr. Dilip Bharat, sir, for accepting our invitation and being with us today. We thank you for enlightening us by sharing your vast array of knowledge acquired through years of hard work and experience. I, on behalf of the Department of Science and Humanities, Federal Institute of Science and Technology, express our profound gratitude towards you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I take this opportunity to sincerely thank the technical support team for all the support provided throughout the conduct of this program. I sincerely thank all the faculty members, participants, and students who attended this webinar. Finally, I thank the coordinators, Mr. Nizamuddin Akbar, Ms. Nice Ignatius, Mr. Thomas Philip. I especially thank Mr. Eldos P. Jacob for all the technical assistance provided throughout the webinar. I look forward to your cooperation in all our future endeavors. Once again, I, on behalf of the Department of Science and Humanities, Federal Institute of Science and Technology, would like to thank everyone profusely for making this webinar a big success. Thank you all.
I cordially extend sincere gratitude for your entire efforts, ma'am. Thank you. With that, we conclude the one-day national webinar organized by the Department of Science and Humanities, Federal Institute of Science and Technology. Thank you.